this weekend I'm bringing you back another tutorial video, and this time I'm going to talk about Through the Ages. And what it is entailing is, what rewards do you get from Golden Era score throughout the entire course of a game? And, you know, like, you start in the Ancient Era, so the first thing I want to say is that you obviously don't get a Golden Era in the Ancient Era, no matter who you are, because you start at 0, and through the course of the game you do a variety of different tasks that are aimed to help benefit your civilization and be rewarded with generating era score. What do I mean by that? Well, this particular game with Batria, in the very first era, the Ancient Era, we have overshot our overscore by quite a bit. You know, it wants us to get around 19 points era score to begin with, and we got 27. So what we're going to look at is, why do we go for era score, when to go for era score, what benefits there are for era score and how to best utilize them, and also the pitfalls of generating era score too much, because of course the more you generate era score, the harder it is to succeed the next era with good era score, and inevitably it is more than likely that you will fall into a dark era, and how to also utilize a dark era to generate a heroic age. In fact, if you look in the Civilopedia, you have a whole bunch of major moments that we can go through, but just to say that you can find all these and all these details in the Civilopedia, which is a really nice place. It's a little tucked away, and the game doesn't even tell you that it's there, which I found very strange, because it's a lot of really good information for this sort of thing. So there it goes. We enter the classical era with a golden banner, and we get choices to make. The choices are relevant to the eras anyway. They have the same titles, but they offer different rewards. Free Inquiry. The Free Inquiry Golden Age usually relates to science. Science Eurekas provide an additional 10% technology costs. Normally it's 40, in this case it would be 50. Commercial Hub and Harbor Districts, Gold Adjacency Bonus, provides science as well. Penbrush and Voice is the first set of eras, culture equivalent. And this means that inspirations provide an additional 10% of civic costs. Each city receives +1 culture for each specialty district. Monumentality, which +2 movements for all builders, may purchase civilian units with faith. This probably includes all civilian units like archaeologists and naturalists, but you never really see them because you're too early in the game. Builders and settlers are 50% cheaper to purchase with either faith or gold, so even if you have a good gold economy, this can often be a good idea even without the faith. Or lastly, the dedicated religious one, Exodus of the Evangelists, +2 movement for all missionaries, apostles, and inquisitors, religious units effectively, aside from maybe gurus and warrior monks. Additionally, newly trained ones get +2 charges and +4 great profit points per turn. The last part is something I really want to talk about in this example, because normally you would want to go Monumentality. However, you can see that we are generating 1.8 faith per turn with only 33 total. Your cheapest settler is around 80 to 90, maybe 95 faith. There is very little chance that we're going to be able to generate anything like the kind of faith to benefit from a Monumentality age. However, because we have little faith, and because we do want to get a religion and we haven't been starting on it, use this opportunity to take Exodus Evangelists and effectively be safe in the knowledge that we will get a religion. So taking this, you will see the benefit that we get when I move over a few turns. So here we are, a few turns later, are ready to get our religion. As you can see, everybody else is hot on our tail. It would have been a tight call for us to be able to get that religion. It didn't take very long for them to all Mongolia challenge us for one. But because we have that golden age, we can now recruit our prophet, go to our holy site, and make our religion. Welcome to our game of Pachacuti here, where we have just acquired a golden age for the medieval era, the third era, and the second possible era for a golden era. As you can see, we have a reasonable faith economy. We already have 153, which is a nice stock. It's more than one worth of settler at least. We also have quite an amount of gold. It is at this point in the game that I would recommend, instead of too early where you don't have those sort of resources, to invest in getting Monumentality. We've read through these already. They're the exact same as before, because these things do shift over time, but they kind of shift relevant to the regular era ones, aka it's not every era that you get a difference, and sometimes it's only a singular difference, sometimes more. Monumentality is going to give us a great acceleration towards our empire, allowing us to build a whole bunch of settlers with our faith and even gold if we wish. And you will see in the coming turns just how powerful this can be. I'm going to say this every single time I play them. I absolutely love Pachacuti. With the amount of golden era potential they have with their variety of specialties, like the terrace farm, and the Warak Ak. It's just so easy to snowball Goldens back to back, and that's exactly what we're doing here. And the reason why that is because we still have an economy coming in, 33 faith, 120 gold, and we have so much more land we want to settle. We've explored quite a bit with our various units, and we have the rest of this continent to take up. We've already made some establishment with our current golden. We had like 4 cities. I believe we had these 4. And then going in now, we have 3 more cities, 7. But we're not done yet. You will see as we return in this game shortly that we will have established quite the empire by the end of these Goldens. And just shows the power of Monumentality. And there it is. We've just entered the industrial area in this game. And you can see that even though we've lost our Golden, we now have a huge empire. We have one more area that we'd like to settle, but most of the settling for this entire game is done already, ready to tackle the second half of the game, getting that culture and getting over the line. But you can already tell just how much of an explosion that is in terms of how many more cities we have now than when we had a mere few turns ago. Moving on swiftly now to the industrial era, we are ending our Renaissance era on a golden, secured right at the end in nice clean fashion. So let's take a look at these golden options, shall we? You may notice from our previous discussions that the list here is substantially different to before. This is like the first major shift from the Free Inquiry, Exodus, Monumentality options to now a whole new set representing the more modern part of the game that we're in. Sunt Dracones Golden Age, +3 starting population for cities settled on a different continent than your first city. +2 movement for naval and embarked units. +2 loyalty per turn for cities not on your original capital continent. So this is all about if you've been able to make enough settlers, perhaps with a Monumentality Golden Age, that you can now make them even stronger going forward by initially setting with a boost, which is really important because remember, especially in online speed games, we have very little time to work with. We can't be wasting our time just building more and more cities when they're stuck in one trying to grow up and catch the rest. That's not going to happen. But if they have this, then you can make something of it. Reform the coinage. Your traders cannot be plundered. International trade routes provide +3 gold per special district in the foreign city. I do like this, but I don't like doing international trade routes this early in the game. I like doing international trade routes once they become really strong, maybe with a second level alliance, especially in a culture game. But that usually happens in, say, the Atomic or, even further on eras and information era, and that's just not viable for me usually. To give you a bit of story behind this particular game, we are running a science win con for this particular game, and I highly recommend going for Heartbeat of Steam at this present time. It says here +10% production towards industrial era and later wonders, which does help. It actually helps us get Oxford University in this game. Campus districts, science adjacency, bonus provide production as well. Now, of course, science and production, especially for a science victory, is linked hand in hand. You need a lot of both. So being able to allow your campuses to basically fulfill the roles of both themselves and industrial zones even, at least contributing to that production, is a really handy thing to do. And of course, if you are interested in warfare, you have the option to go to arms. You rejoin us now as we have explored further across the lands. We have used our ships to sail west, and we found quite a nice set of islands to locate and settle on. I have specifically waited with this settler to settle on next turn, because currently we have Heartbeat of Steam. But if we were to advance a turn to the next Golden Age, we can now go back to our Golden Ages. You see they're the same as the previous set. But now if we pick Sunt Dracones, we will get that much desired boost to our population on the newer cities to make them somewhat useful for this game within time. Even though, given it's 100 plus turns ahead, this acceleration will make sure that they are not wasted. We get some era score for settling on South America. And we have our lovely 4-size city to work with already. 2 turns left now of the modern era Golden Age that we acquired, and boy have we made it worth it. First of all, we built the Oxford University, as I said that we would. With the help of the Heartbeat of Steam was part of it, but also with this era. And then we've also settled, as I said we would, 3 cities, pretty sizable cities at that. This city had a lot of chops, a lot of rainforest, so it's already grown to a size 10 power city. But look how powerful that is. Within only a couple of 20 or so turns, very small segment of the game, we have now even strengthened further our ability to generate science. We have over 300 science now, as well as getting into the latter parts of the tree and specifically finding rocketry. This is arguably the most important tech to get in the game for a science victory, because it's what gets you the spaceport. So good utilization of these golden eras is key to a successful game. Back with another culture game here now with Ludwig II on a rather disparate islands map. Golden Ages just keep on coming. So here we have some changes, right? You'll notice that 2 of the 4 rewards have gone. The Sunt Dracones and the Reform the Coinage eras have now been antiquated, and they've been replaced by Wish You Were Here and Bodyguard of Lies. So settlements really should have been all finished by now. Your last opportunity in window, as the game was kind of suggesting, was the previous era to this, to the Atomic. But now we have potential to build spies, we have potential to push forward with our science, but in our game, we're all about going for Wish You Were Here. Let's have a read for them again. Wish You Were Here. Cities with governors receive plus 50% tourism from world wonders and plus 100% tourism to all national parks. We should have already acquired conservation by now to access national parks, and actually we have saving right now at least 1 naturalist with the faith economy that we've built to earn these national parks. And then finally, Bodyguard of Lies. Spies take no time to establish their presence in another civilization. Time to complete all offensive missions is reduced by 25%. Now that might be interesting, especially if you have tech to steal or you want a source of money. But we are very much interested in Wish You Were Here. If you have a look to the north, we already have a national park to be built, as well as some more national park plot land over to the north and south of the area. And last but not least, we have the final 2 eras to talk about, the Information Era and the Future Era. And we're here in a Inland Sea game with Montezuma going for a science win-con victory. So let's have a look at the options available to us for that. So Wish You Were Here is still here, but as you can see, some of the previous, again, have been rotated out. And 5 stars and Automaton Warfare. So the end games for both science and presumably domination are here to help us. But of course we want Sky and Stars. If you are going for a culture game, always consider going for Wish You Were Here, I'd suggest. But otherwise, Sky and Stars is probably what you want to take for a science. So let's read that. Unlocks Eureka's for satellites, nuclear fusion, and nanotechnology in the Information Era, which is the era we are in. When chosen in the Future Era, the Eureka's for smart materials, productive systems, and off-world missions are unlocked. Plus 100% XP earned for all air units. Aluminium mines accumulate plus 2 more resources per turn. Now, the aluminium, of course, is very valuable when it comes to the off-world missions, because the Lagrange mission requires aluminium. And it is very unfortunate that in this game I acquired a golden era in the information era, because I honestly did not really need these particular techs, because as you can see, we've already researched nanotechnology and we have already researched satellites, which are for the early parts of the mission to Mars. If we had access, however, to smart materials and off-world missions, we've already done the first 3 phases of our science, and we could immediately go into finishing this game. So bear that in mind. Granted, it's going to be for another 20 turns before we can even reach that, and by that point, we probably have already researched what we need anyway. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. I hope it's been very educational and entertaining for you all. If you enjoyed, please consider liking the video, commenting down below what you'd like to see, and potentially subscribing to the channel as well. I'd love to see you again.